The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32735. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Across the front bumper, you'll find on the outer edges, passenger and driver's side, your electronic sirens. Just beneath that, you'll find dual air horns. Located directly in the center, you'll find your PA speaker system. Moving up onto the bumper extension is where you'll find 2 D handles. These will allow you to gain access to the front bumper extension hose loads. Inside those hose loads is where you'll find 2 1.5-inch swivel discharges. There's one on the passenger side and also on the driver's side, with a center divider between the 2 hose lays. As we move up to the front grille area, this is the hood release mechanism just behind the Pierce Manufacturing logo. The headlights consist of low and high beam. High beam is on the inside and your low beam is on the outside. On the corner edge of the apparatus is where you'll find your marker turn indicator light. Just up from that, you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency lights on the passenger and driver's side. Let's move around to the side of the vehicle where you'll find your shore line inlet. This is a 20 amp auto eject plug. When plugged into shore power, your auto charging system will activate. Let's move further back now to the pump area. Up in the upper left-hand corner is where you'll find your air supply control. You also have an air outlet, and just beneath that, you'll have an air inlet. Moving to the right, you'll find some warning labels here. This warning label pertains to not mixing foam brands, consistencies, and types for foam failure process. Located just beneath that, you're going to find your auxiliary foam function inlet. And then to the right, you'll find another warning label here regarding pressurized hazard, which indicates removing the caps while under pressure could be hazardous. To the right, you'll find a override. This is going to be for your driver's side inlet. Moving further right, you're going to find a warning label here not to ride on the side of your apparatus. Moving down to the lower left, you'll find 2 2.5-inch discharges. Moving to the right, you'll find your large diameter pump intake. Moving further down from this location, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And then across the bottom, you'll find all your associated color-coded labeled drains. Let's take a couple close-ups of a few of these items. First, starting in the upper left, your air supply, air outlet, and air inlet, and then also your foam system. Moving down to the lower left, the 2 discharges, 2.5-inch. Moving down to the right, your auxiliary inlet, once again 2.5-inch female inlet. Let's move up above where you'll find a dead lay at the very top. The release mechanism for that speed load is located in the lever just beneath the dead lay. Moving into the upper right-hand corner is where you'll find backboard storage location. Let's move down from this location to the next set of cross lays, where you'll find 2 cross lays, color-coded and labeled. They are both foam capable. There is a warning label here also regarding entanglement hazard, in addition with the release mechanism to allow those speed loads to be removed to ground level. Now move to the pump panel area. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner with first this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this vehicle, and after you utilize the owner's manual for guidance. Once again, upper left-hand corner is the warning label. We'll move up from that location to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi test pressures. To the right, the green module you'll find for your foam tank A. That's a level indicator. To the gray area, your master intake. Further to the right in the same gray area, you'll find the master discharge. Just beneath that in the gray area, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged. Moving up to the right-hand corner, you'll find your PCM fault. This is an amber indicator when lit. And just beneath that, you'll find the audible alarm, which does have the ability on the outer bezel to dampen the sound level. Moving up to the very top, when you've exited the cab and you have engaged your pump,
this should be illuminating your pump engaged indicator. Once again, this is your 150, 200, and 250 psi test pressures. The GPM is on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is your RPM. This also indicates a governed speed of 2,380, and then your job at the very top, 32,735. As we move to the left, next section down, you're going to find all of your associated discharges. As you can see, all of these are foam capable. To the right, you'll find your driver's main inlet. This is an electronic valve. Moving further to the right, you'll find your passenger main inlet. Once again, electronic valve. And then as we move down to the very bottom, this will be the rear inlet, which is also an electronic valve. Moving over to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. If illuminated, this is the check engine light. It will be yellow in color. Located in the center is a digital readout for your RPMs. Moving further to the right, if illuminated, will be a stop engine light in red. And then moving further down onto the panel, you'll find all of your diagnostic engine information. Moving further down into the blue section, you'll find your water tank level indicator from empty, quarter, half, three-quarter to full. And to the right in red, you'll find a silence button for the audible alarm. And in the orange, you'll find your menu button to allow you to scroll through the digital readout. Moving down to the next section, you'll find the pressure control module. If illuminated, that is the position that your vehicle is in. In between, you'll have a digital readout, and to the right, you'll find the throttle control or RPM control. So there's two options that you can be in for control mode, which is the blue button. In between the control and the preset button is a green throttle ready indicator. It should be illuminated in green. To the right, you'll find a preset button for presetting throttle position or pressure positions. Just beneath that, you'll find a red idle button and also the throttle from left to right for increase or decrease. Let's move over to the side of the apparatus. This is going to be the extender for your MasterStream device on top of your vehicle. This is a up or down position. It also has a digital readout to the left for LED lighting. On the left, you'll find your L-card brass. This was the control module for that MasterStream device. Just beneath that, you'll find the air horn switch. Beneath that, rewind. You do have 4 future switch locations if necessary, and then also a push-to-talk and a plug-in location for a intercom system. Let's move just to the right of that to the next section. We'll start at the very top. This is your primer for your fire pump. It's a push to prime with priming instructions of at least 1,000 RPMs to gain the maximal prime. Moving across from this location is where you're going to find your foam system instructions for your Husky 12 foam system. There is also percentages and also capacity. To the right is the control module, which is in red for your Husky 12 foam system. Also moving to the right, you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. Moving down from that, you'll find your tank refill and recirculating line. Moving to the right is your tank to pump, and then further to the right is your reel discharge. Moving down to the Acron electronic valve, this is going to be the driver's rear discharge. And then moving all the way to the far right, you'll find the passenger rear discharge. These two are both foam capable. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find your deluge discharge. This is a open and closed position valve, which is electronic. Further to the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding not riding on the side of your apparatus for a fall hazard. Moving down, this is just a close-up here. I should say moving back up, this is a close-up of your module for your foam system. This is also your L-card brass control module for the stream and position. Moving in the very bottom, you'll find all of your associated drains. The round are twist and the bottoms are lift. To the right, you'll find a pan door, which you can access behind the panel. I have some close-ups of what's behind that pump panel access door. Let's start with that now. First, starting in the very back, you'll find this yellow handle. This is a position handle for your foam horizontal or vertical operations. You can see the instructions are on the left-hand side of the door. Just beneath that, you'll also find an additional warning label here regarding foam failure hazard and not to mix brands, consistencies, or types. Just in the back, you're going to find your manual pump shift. It is a protected switch with an amber light. Let's go ahead and move back outside away from the pump panel, and we'll move further down just to the right of this location. There are 4 compartments, or I should say 4 shelves here. 3 of those shelves do have the ability to be pulled in the outward position. Those were the release mechanisms. SCBA bottle storage with retaining straps. As we move further back to the rear section of the rear, you'll find your silver ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. As you remove the flap down, it exposes the blue cap, which is your DEF 4.5 US gallon tank. Just over that, you'll find additional compartment storage with LED lighting. Moving down to the rear compartment, you do have pull-out shelves and also a toolbar that pulls to the outward position. As we move to the side of the vehicle, you'll find side scene lights in addition with emergency warning lights side facing. Let's move to the rear of the apparatus now. We'll identify a few of the items here. Let's start with some safety things first. There is a fall protection here, warning not to ride on the back of the apparatus. At the very top, because of the hoses coming off aloft, you do have an entanglement hazard warning, and then also once again a pressurized cap warning here regarding not to remove caps that are under pressure. As we start down the left and right side, you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse lights on the outer edges. Just beneath that, you'll find a ladder. This ladder does have the ability to pull outward away from the back of the rig and also extend downward. There are 3 pan doors located in the very back of this vehicle, and we'll talk about those individually. Located directly in the center, you'll find a D handle. This gains access to the tailboard step saver. Just up from that, you'll find a roll-up door, which will gain access behind the tail saver. Up from that, you'll find the traffic advisor, and directly in the center, you'll find your backup camera. Moving up just above those locations is where you're going to find your discharges. These are 2 2.5-inch discharges located on the passenger side rear of the vehicle. As we move further down, you do have a large diameter intake located on the passenger side rear, a rear scene light at the very top, and then sufficient handrails for gaining access to go aloft along with your ladder. Here are some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. This is the lower section. This is the tailboard saver. Up from that, you'll find the rear inlet. You do have a 24-foot extension ladder and a 14 roof in the exterior pan door on the passenger side. Above that, you have long tool storage and a 10-foot folding ladder. Over to the, to the bottom side is where you'll find the rear scene lights. This will turn on that top scene light. And then on the left-hand side of the image, you'll find additional long tool storage. As we look to the top of the vehicle, you do have a covered hose bed. There are additional diamond-styled reflective tape for firefighter safety, so you're aware of the edge of the apparatus. The next set of images will cover a few of the compartments within the top section of your apparatus. Each of those compartments do have dry deck material and LED lighting. Let's now move to the dunnage area where you'll find your foam tank fill for your tank A. It does have a warning label here once again regarding the failure of foam if you mix different brands and consistencies. To the left you find your water fill location for top fill. That's for your water tank. And at the very top in the top dunnage area you'll find your hydraulic oil. This is for a shut-off down at the lower section in red, and then to the right, difficult to see in this image, is a sight gauge that you can view the hydraulic oil, and at the very top is the fill location. As we move through other images here within the dunnage area, you'll find your hose reel. There is a tension adjustment on the left-hand side, and on the very top section, you'll find if you have an electrical failure, this is where the tool would be inserted for manual rewind. This is your master stream device on the top. It is radio controlled from below. As we look around the apparatus and move toward the front of the apparatus, we're on the passenger side rear compartment. There is additional bottle storage locations that do have retaining straps for those bottles for bottle security. And there are also 2 located just in front of the rear wheel. As we look over the rear wheel, you'll find an emergency warning light side facing and also dry deck and LED lighting inside. As we move forward of this compartment, you'll find a roll-out drawer on the very bottom, and you do have 12-volt barrel style access at the very top. Down in the lower left corner of this picture, you will find an additional warning label here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures and to be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. As we move up to the top of this same compartment, you'll find 2 barrel style 12-volt access points. Moving under the side step, you'll find the rear inlet and also manifold drains. As we move to the side, this is the puck section of your panel. This is going to be a warning label here regarding fall and not to ride on the side of the vehicle, and then an additional warning label here regarding pressurized caps. As we move back up to the left, you'll find the foam system water strainer. Moving down, you're going to find your large diameter pump intake. This is an electronic valve, and because of that, at the very top, you'll find the override for that electronic valve. Moving to the right, you'll find the reel rewind switch. Moving further down to the right-hand side, you'll find the green large diameter discharge. This is going to be an electronic valve, and because of that being an electronic valve, to the left of that discharge is where you'll find the override. Moving all the way down to the very bottom, you have a combination of drains, twist, and also pull style. Here's a couple close-ups of those images that we just talked about. This is your foam system water strainer. Let's move over to the right-hand side of this area. You'll find your passenger main inlet override and also the reel rewind. Moving down, you'll find the associated drains, color-coded and labeled. Down to the right side is where you're going to find your large diameter passenger side discharge, green in color, and then also the override. Let's go ahead and move now to the driver's area. On all points of entry at all doors, you'll find this set of warning labels. There is also your master battery switch. It is the red quarter turn switch. Just beneath that, we'll talk a little bit about this panel where I have a close-up image to give a little bit more detail. Let's first start in the upper right-hand corner. This is your tech module. Moving down in the green is the engine, transmission, ABS, diagnostic port. And then moving down to the very bottom, there are 4 switches. First, ABS diagnostics, engine diagnostic, regen inhibit, and also DPF regen. Also on the door, you're going to find fluid specifications for your department's fleet department. Also, you'll find the manufactured by Pierce for the city of Scottsdale. This has the date of manufacture, the job number, 5-digit, in addition with gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and also all of your fluid capacities. Let's go ahead and move up from this location to the steering wheel area, general view of the column dash. We'll talk a little bit about some of these items here. First, starting on the left with the top hazard lights, start, and ignition switch. Moving to the right, you'll find the emergency master switch, headlight switch, and parking lights. And then further to the right, the switch labeled panel. This is a rocker switch to allow you to brighten or dim the dash lights. This is your dash starting on the left with the transmission oil, DEF, and water temperature. The 2 gauges in the center, you're going to find tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you'll find volts, front and rear air, and also your fuel. Above and below the speedometer is where you'll find additional diagnostic information. As we move to the right of the steering column, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. On the steering column itself, there are easily accessible controls here for your headlights, windshield wipers, and also emergency controls. Your vehicle is also equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. As we move to the right of the dash, you'll find your defense zone. This is going to be your backup camera. Moving to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. Set of switches here is the engine brake on and off. You have settings for low, medium, and high. You have mirror heat, stationary OK to pump and roll, the water pump, and also the foam system. Moving down, you do have a digital readout for the pump pressure. Moving further to the right, you'll find a water tank vision. This is the water in your tank. Moving to the right, you'll find a foam tank vision indicator. This is the amount of foam in your foam tank. Moving to the right of that, you'll find the PTT, which stands for push to talk for your radio system. To the right, you'll also find the control module for your Go Light spotlight. Down from that, you'll find the cab lock downs not engaged. These are memory switches. To the right, you'll find a siren brake and load manager. On the very top of that same module, you'll find your mirror controls for left and right mirror. Directly in the center is your climate control center. Over the left-hand side of the operator's head, you'll find your placard regarding the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. Your height, 10 feet, 2.5 inches. Your length, 32 feet, 1.5 inches. And the gross vehicle weight rating of 46,500 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle, please update this placard. Moving to the right of that, you'll find the emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. The next section down is the lower rear warning, upper rear warning, your high beam flash, and then also your opticom located in your light bar. To the right of this location, you'll find an additional set of switches. This is your air horn, electronic siren, mechanical siren, your cornering scene lights, driver's side scene, front scene light, passenger side scene, and also rear scene lights. Once again, these are memory switches. When they are pushed, they actually will indicate green around the outer edges. Located to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor. And then directly in the center, difficult to see in this image, this is a light that indicates not to move your apparatus because you may have a compartment door open or a door ajar. Just a quick view here from the front of the vehicle to the rear, 2 forward-facing seats in addition with 2 rear-facing seats. There are EMS compartments on the right and left side of the vehicle. Overhead, push on and off white and red lights in addition with your headset system. Let's look to the rear of the apparatus. They're going to find 2 barrel-style 12-volt access points here. Located directly in the center is the access point for all of your daily checks for the oil and transmission. As we move in between the seats, you'll find your auto charge. When plugged into shore power, this will activate. Back onto the door, passenger side, once again, point of entry, so we have warning labels here. Your vehicle also has some information here regarding the supplemental restraint system, the airbag, and not mounting any items within this area. Let's go ahead and now move to the door itself. Emergency lights out on the side indicating your door is open. You also have a dash controlled area, which houses your air horn push button, the push to talk for your headset system. You also have a Go Light control module. And then further to the right, you'll find the intercom, which is your volume and squelch control. Got a couple more images here. As we roll through a couple of these things, I'll just point out the things are clear. Once again, air horn location here on this side. This would be left of the passenger seat. Overhead, you have a digital readout for the speedometer. You have additional locations for additional modules, and also high intensity map reading lights independently controlled at the lights itself. On the far left, you'll find a weather band Sirius XM radio and MP3 player. You also have siren control. Moving to the center section, you'll find barrel style 12-volt access points. You do have a protected parking brake. And then at the very front, you'll find your vehicle data recorder. Looking overhead, a little bit better image here of that do not move your apparatus light. This is directly in the center. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32735. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any future questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.